Hello there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today, I'll be doing a triple reaction where we're going to check out songs from 3 different bands today. So first, we're going to start off with Grey Matter by Oingo Boingo. I've never heard of Oingo Boingo before, so I don't know what to expect here, but that's where we'll start. Then we'll jump into the song Eighth Day by Hazel O'Connor. Hazel is also somebody who I've never heard about, so I don't know what to expect, but as always, it's going to be fun to discover something new. And then lastly, we'll actually jump into something we sort of know, Queen, the song All Dead, All Dead. We've done a handful of Queen reactions on the channel. I've heard Queen in and around my life, so it's great to be able to add another unknown Queen song to my arsenal. So I'm excited to check all of these songs out today, and that is all thanks to Frank the Gentle for making this donation request and making these selections. As always, Frank, thank you so much, and Frank dedicates this to all the weirdos who show us what we can't see. There's that amazing quote from The Imitation Game, and I'm totally gonna butcher it, but sometimes it's the people who you expect the least of that can actually make the most happen in life. It's total paraphrasing, and we have to give everybody their flowers. Everybody is capable of defying what you think you already know about the world. And if we enter every conversation with the openness that maybe we could learn something from this other person, even if it's something small, I think we would have a bit of a better time. Anyways, let's jump into the music.
Thank you.
Very quirky, I feel like. Is that a curved xylophone with rocks underneath? Oh, I like that melody. It's your brain, bro. The gray matter in our brains. That's what's inside. Dude, this is, the descriptor I have is quirky. It feels a little bit jittery, a little bit, what's that term? Like off kilter in a fun way, in a danceable way, in a sort of sarcastic way. It's very, very different than what I'm used to. What is happening? Gray matter. Gray matter. marimba and all of that too, and all the synths, maybe like new wave. The smile on his face, sort of reminds me of who's that actor who plays Pennywise these days? Somehow, right? With the way the lips curl up like that. Now on this channel we love the weirdos. We have Aurora, Warriors and Weirdos. Dude, this bounce. The whole time, this entire song, I'm bouncing. That's actually a really, really catchy chorus. Da da da, gray matter. Whoa. I don't really have a good way to describe this genre because the lead instrument, the lead melody came from a xylophone, seemingly, which is not what I was expecting at all. Usually when I think of like bands, right, it's the electric guitar, it's the bass, it's the drums that takes front and center stage. But here it was the vocals, here it was the xylophone, and that like syncopated strummed electric guitar. So it's an interesting composition from that respect. And just given the performance itself that I was viewing in the video and what I understood from the lyrics, this song seems to be about using the gray matter that's up here in our brain. Don't just acquiesce don't like bend over, don't forego critical thinking, because it's important. We use our brains for everything in our lives. Why would you ever delegate critical thinking to somebody else, especially for things that impact you directly? The way they shape, the way thoughts and opinions, beliefs shape your behaviors and how you act in the world, how you think and how you'll feel as a consequence. You don't want to live in any kind of cognitive dissonance. And oftentimes when you just do what sheeple do, which is take information in at face value as fact without second guessing anything, there's a lot of inner turmoil that starts brewing without realizing it, because many of the actions that you do in your day-to-day, the values that they exhibit don't necessarily align with the facts that were presented that you so readily agreed with prior. So you're having to emotionally reconcile why why does what I believe conflict with how I behave? And a lot of the time when you like pose that hypocrisy to the individual who is the sheep, they get defensive, they get combative, because they don't actually understand that that belief was not even their own. So they're defending a cause that doesn't actually resonate with them. Critical thinking is a skill. It is learned at a very young age, and we continue to build on it with age. We have something called crystallized IQ and fluid IQ. The crystallized aspect means at some point your IQ is what it is, and then the fluid aspect is, well, at any given age you can increase the threshold of what that IQ is. Imagine like the crystallized IQ being a baseline. The fluid IQ allows you to get smarter. And, I'm not going to make the argument that IQ itself is the end all be all of what it means to be a smart person, but a smart person surely is one who critically thinks, right? If we can encourage critical thinking in ourselves and in those around us, I think the world would be far, far better served, because conformity is intellectual laziness. And if we are to live in a democracy where we all rely on our collective intellect to make proper decisions for the future of our the future generations, better start critical thinking now. Like a robot alien. This definitely feels like more new wave, so I'm assuming both of these genres have been new wave thus far.
Green and blue bye-bye. On the fourth we send rockets to the sky. On the fifth metal beasts and submarines on the...
It's like how we have the story in the Bible, right, of on the first day God made the sun, the moon, the stars, like all of that. So now we're past the seventh day of creation and on to the eighth day of creation, which seemingly comes from humans and our technological ambitions, but those ambitions also have unintended consequences, negative externalities that may lead to dystopian futures that could be the destruction of all that's been created. It's a cool concept. I love the fusion of this like biblical allegory and the scary technological future that awaits, almost a bit like in Black Mirror, that show, which you'll witness.
On the fifth metal beasts and submarines, on the sixth man prepares his final dream. In our image, let's make robots for our slaves. Imagine all the time that we can save. Computers, machines, the silicon dream. Seventh he retired from the scene, and he said, behold, what I have done. I made a better world for everyone. Nobody left, nobody cried, all without end, forever and ever. Amen, amen, amen.
Wow, the prayer. Amen. That's interesting.
On the eighth day, machine just got upset.
Right, yeah.
A problem
Now it's
man
taking
had
us
never
over.
seen us yet. No time for flight, a blinding light, for nothing but a void forever night.
Oh, that is a cool effect.
He said, behold,
did they get her to look like this?
Nobody cried, walls are turning, everyone has died.
She's up here. Wow. What an interesting listen. And according to the description of that, that was 1980. So 45 years ago, singing about the technological advancements that could also be counter to our own humanity. And now in 2025, it's interesting to be witness to the era of artificial intelligence and machines being more and more at the forefront. All of the bleeding edge technology is all around artificial intelligence, and it basically consumes all of human thought and regurgitates it out as its own because it's so computationally efficient, and there's so many use cases for AI. We're seeing now a lot of the negative externalities that we may or may not have been able to predict, one of the ones being job loss. So many of the jobs and industries that we've had for many years are now being completely cut out with AI. AI can simply do a lot of these boilerplate tasks, and with the way that large language models work, they also evolve dynamically. So if there are new needs that we don't yet know, AI can actually address those unknown needs. They call them latent needs of consumers, of businesses, of individuals. And at a certain point, a lot of the critical thinking that we have, to tie it back in the previous song, is just being replaced by AI. And you can see this in the way that kids are now taking advantage of AI to help out with their, tests, with their homework, with any projects. They're just deferring all of the critical thinking to the large language model. Instead of utilizing it as a tool, they're using it as a replacement for their critical thinking. So there's a lot of potential futures, as Black Mirror and Hazel O'Connor here are talking about, a lot of them dystopian. And I just think the important thing for us to understand as humans, the reason we have a consciousness is to be able to collectively come together and craft a technological present for a future that we all want. We can only do that if we understand what the possible trade-offs are, and sometimes those trade-offs will only make themselves known until it's far too late. That's why it's a little bit concerning when there's limited regulation in the face of some of these burgeoning technologies and industries, because only a handful of very powerful and wealthy players really know how these things work, like down to the core, and can use them and manipulate them for their own good. And I've been in my own research bubble as well in my graduate degree, learning about how machines learn and how artificial intelligence learns. And so many of the decisions in our near future are not going to be decisions we're responsible for. And now how do we reconcile our place in the world as we have to do less and less and less? We actually, in a weird sense, need to be able to do more and more and more with all of the AI components, because if it's not going anywhere, we need a way to harness it, integrate it in a way that is functional for us. We're in the 8th day, is what it seems. Wow. These are cool songs. I like the topics that they're talking on, and Hazel's voice, it kept climbing and climbing when she was singing Amen in that very powerful voice. It was a bit scary, but also awe-inspiring. I can't imagine what the people in that audience were feeling. I mean, they were all up on their feet at some point, so I haven't seen something like that, at least in a while. Kind of reminds me a bit of a character from a Tool music video I saw a while back. Anyways, let's jump into the last song of the day, All Dead by Queen.
She came without a farthing, a babe without a name. So much ado about nothing is what she tried to say. So much ado, my love.
This is Brian May on vocals.
Games we played through every fleeted summer, through every precious day.
I like this melody.
All dead, all the dreams we had, and I wonder why I still live on. All dead, and alone I'm spared, my sweeter heart instead. All dead,
I like the melody, like the vocal layering, and the punchy bass below that we had. It's like a melancholic elegy.
all dead,
Wow.
the rainbow's end. Still I hear her own sweet song. All dead, take me back again. Oh, my little friends, all dead.
Definitely piano driven in this ballad kind of feel. Delicate harmonies, lush production. Whoa, what is that? That was cool.
I wonder all the while. Please, you must forgive me. I am old but still a child. All dead, but I should not.
And like the repetition of all dead, it's almost like being sung as if it's a mantra, which is very scary, which is a very scary mantra to be repeating. And a lot of the concepts here are, all dead, about loss, about feeling of being kind of impermanent. We only have a finite time on this earth.
Child, all dead, but I should not leave. In time it comes to everyone. All dead, but in hope I breathe. Of course I don't believe you're dead and gone. All dead and gone.
Man. The confluence of all these three songs today definitely has me in my sci-fi conspiratorial dystopian brain right now. And I've always found it super fun, even now, but certainly in my childhood, just thinking about what is the future going to look like technologically with sci-fi. Are we going to have the AI robots? Are we going to have the flying cars? How can we utilize the technology we have now to further improve the quality of our lives? And it's interesting thinking back to the thought processes I had then and what we're kind of experiencing now. And maybe it's just a consequence of our own human biases, and as technology kind of advances and we exist in that same society growing, somehow everything feels the same, even though I know it's different. Because when I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones, and now everyone has cell phones. And as a kid, if my internet went down at home, which it would go down so much, I would have to go to the library and play video games on the computers at the library. Now my internet rarely ever goes down. AI, the computational power of computers, the technology we all have access to, we're all noticing right now a lot of these short-term effects on kids, on adults, on anybody engaging in this technology with any level of frequency. And the thing is, these are short-term effects that we're able to observe now. People are less happy, people are more pathological, their dopaminergic systems are fried. I've experienced a lot of these same symptoms as well, which is crazy because now, I'm inhabiting the social media space. It kind of feels impossible for us to now unravel this large structure. We kind of have to exist in this plane for a while. So we have to question, okay, if it's going to be here for a while, how do we best engage with it to supplement our lives rather than to detract from or make them worse? Because if the short-term effects can be bad, the mid to long-term to the generational effects, we don't know how things can go. We need to do our due diligence, always keep that critical thinking brain on, because that will be our best internal guide. Because a lot of the external sources out there feeding us information, they're not necessarily feeding us that information for our benefit. It's aligning our thought processes with what they want for the future that they're able to provide and then commodify and sell to the average consumer. You got to think about it like that. Most of the time, this technology, even though it's developed by engineers with good hearts, are being sold by very, very surreptitious and vulture-esque corporations trying to squeeze the most from everybody. Take and extract every single dollar. It's extremely parasitic and frightening. Just keep our wits about us, guys. Anyways, these are 3 enjoyable songs to check out today. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to them alongside me here. If you did and would like to request a reaction yourself, you can always do so by clicking the first link down below. But as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.